Hi everyone, welcome back to your weekly astrological forecast. This one goes from September 30th through October 6th. And on the 2nd, that's Wednesday, we have the new moon solar eclipse coming in at 10 degrees of Libra. And as the week progresses, and the moon makes a lot of aspects as it goes through the signs of, well, finish up Libra. And then Scorpio on Friday, and then finally makes it into Sag on late Sunday, Sunday afternoon, Pacific time, that is. More like evening, Eastern. So big hugs ahead of time. Let me bring you over my table, right onto my iPad here, and we'll go through these charts one day at a time. Hold on. Okay, so before I get started into this week's dailies, which I have right here, I wanted to show you something quickly that's going on in Trump's chart. So fixed star Algol is right here at 26 degrees, 25 minutes of Taurus. The first assassination attempt happened on the 13th when Mars was conjunct Uranus. Back then, Mars was over here. A couple months ago, Mars moves pretty quick. And the formation of this T-square to not only his Mars, but also his ascendant, which I read as how we magnetize or what we magnetize. I read that the ascendant is always magnetizing. The sun could be, somebody with a bullseye on him. And this is the ruler of his ascendant, the ruler of his chart is the sun. So that has a lot of ramifications besides the bullseye. But the T-square here from the ascendant to the descendant, which is open enemies and other people. In Uranus, we got somebody who I think was just probably pretty crazy. But that's the dark side of Uranus, not the light side. And now, Uranus, because it's retrograde, it's within that half a degree. See there, 26, 25 minutes, 27, 0 minutes of Taurus. So he's, again, and then we had the second, he had the second assassination attempt. Okay. This is September 26, 2024, the day I'm doing this reading. So this is in range. Uranus will retrograde back to 23 degrees and before it stops being retrograde, and then it'll station direct at 23 degrees of, it'll be 20... Actually... No, wait. September 1st, it started the retrogradation process at 27 degrees, 15 minutes. Yeah, so it's only gone back to 0. When it goes direct, it'll be December 7th, and it'll be January 30th. I was looking at Neptune. January 30th, 2025. So next year, of course, it'll be at 23 degrees, 15 minutes. Okay, so what we're going to see over the next year, well, actually even going into January and February 2026, are all these hits coming from Uranus to Algol. Now remember, Uranus is unpredictable. It can be something that reverses a person's kind of fortune, It can be just very detached and very, just, like I said, just crazy, but on the dark side. Very idealistic, I guess, is the way to go with it. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to show you how we've got this T-square coming from Uranus, hitting Algol, affecting his Mars, which is his life force and his motivation in life, and then also his ascendant, of which magnetizes, and descendant being open enemies. And Saturn is transiting through his 7th house of open enemies in the sign of Pisces, which can make people, well, using it on the dark side, people feeling victimized, people who won't take self-responsibility, but they'll just be kind of all over the place with their victimhood. So there's that. And then it gets even worse because Algol natally, so this is where Algol is in his chart natally. It also opposes his IC down here, which is in Scorpio, ruled by Pluto. Okay, Pluto brings things to light. Pluto can destroy things. Pluto can eliminate things. Pluto can make you very humble. Things erupt. Okay, so unpredictable eruptions. Uranus has been opposing his IC. When we have, these are hot points, those 4 hot points to a person's natal chart. When we have something up here in the midheaven, we naturally have an opposition to the IC. The IC is his past life karmic point, one of the past life karmic points. So we can bet that he was, probably betrayed in his past life. I do believe he was Mussolini. And yeah, so that's all I wanted to say for now. But just to know, if you want to take down some dates, I might do a separate reading on this. I don't know if I get time. But there's going to be another hit with Uranus and Algol getting close enough, like it is today. So we have today, then the other dates are October 19th this year, and then April and May of 2025. And this is all because of that retrogradation process that I was saying, how Uranus is going to stay up here and just kind of like on his midheaven, just working it. So April, May 2025, and then the next dates are January and February of 2026. So I don't know that he'll make it that long, but I just wanted to show you those charts. And it gets even worse. I mean, if I were to go to, here's October, and it doesn't matter really where I set the placement, because it all just fills into his natal chart anyway, but I put it in Bedminster, New Jersey, because he's there most of the time. Because he can't legally live at Mar-a-Lago. So, but anyway, notice how the October 19th one brings in Mars on his Saturn. Mars is known for, strikes, fighting, motivating somebody. And then Saturn, Mars in Cancer and Saturn in Cancer, this is well beyond that, frick around and find out phase. It's in the phase of something like bursting open. So in Cancer, we can see people who are very patriotic. I don't know that I would call it patriotic, but like I said, with Uranus idealism here at his descendant, he's going to be, attracting people like that. And this Mars here, that on Saturn is, and Venus as well. This isn't good for him financially, but he'll do his best to grift off of any situation until it finally takes him down. And then Jupiter on his North Node has been blowing this whole thing up. I mean, that's you can see how that's here now at 21 degrees. It's going to go retrograde, so it's going to stay there, working its way over these 3 crazy planets for him. And he's just going to continue to just lie. And, Jupiter's about the truth, but not when you distort it. Then it can turn into lies and embellishments and just, excess and blow things up. Also in October, the South Node is conjunct his Neptune. That even starts before this October 8th. So again, the past catching up with his delusions, and then and will have crossed over his Chiron, which is his deepest wounding. So okay, like I said, I might do a separate video on all of that, but I just wanted to show you what's going on. Now, for the guidance that I got for this week, two simple words. Last week it was, which is still in force because I'm doing this on Thursday, but for this week it has been trust yourself. For next week, starting with Monday the 30th, I got protect yourself. So I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say, just to share a personal way of being, I suppose would be the way to say it, for me, is that I figure people are who they are, expressing who they are, unless it's a family member or a dear friend or a loved one that I know there's some level of trust. Now, I don't have that with all my family members, but for the most part, yes. And you can trust them in some ways and not trust them in others, but with like my personal safety, somebody that I don't know, I would never get into an argument with just to make a point politically, or to say you're wrong and I'm right, on some level, in some way. People can use words in all different ways, and people will take them in all different ways. So I say protect yourself this week because the transits are intense. And besides prayers going out for anyone in the path of Helene, the Hurricane Helene, please, do that. Protect yourself, but also put out prayers for Florida and on down, on down to Mexico and as far as it goes. Prayers up always. But protect yourself from, like maybe don't put that bumper sticker you were thinking of putting on that makes, people just put yourself in the position of a Trump supporter. And if somebody's putting it in your face and they're not getting, okay, first of all, bottom line, at this point, after everything he's done since January 6, 2021, and everything he's done to insult people left and right, and all the crazy, just, blathering on, just the vitriol coming out of his face constantly. If they don't get it by now that all he runs on is hatred, and he instokes fear, because the fear is always on top of the hatred, so he tries to get people emoted in fear against everyone. If people don't know at this point that he's racist, misogynistic, and fascist, they're not gonna get it unless they get it on their own. And they're not gonna like anybody telling them, they can, maybe if you're Adam Mockler and you can have a conversation, you'll finally get around, if you have the patience, but then again, he's out in a public situation with the microphone, anybody tries to touch him, I'm pretty sure there would be people all over protecting him, or all over the situation. But the deal is, for the rest of us, to go around, well, if you have your yard signs, you can say who you're for, but if we have bumper stickers or anything else, or T-shirts or anything else that has anything mean and derogatory towards him, you're just going to attract problems. And I'm like, why bother? Because I have 4 planets and my South Node in the sign of Cancer, and for me, it's all about safety. And so this week, I really want you guys to protect yourself, because it absolutely is an intense week. We have Venus in Scorpio. The moon will make its way through to Scorpio, and then by Sunday night, Sunday late afternoon and evening, we'll have it into Sag. So you can see how the moon is always the public mood, okay? And so the moon is going to hit up the south node of the past, Mercury, the sun, catch up to Venus, and go beyond, and make aspects to Saturn, Neptune, make an opposition aspect to Saturn, Neptune, North Node, Chiron, and Eris. So that's not going to be fun. Those oppositions can bring confrontation coming from the outside. And we also have, I'll get to the chart for Wednesday, when we have the solar eclipse at 10 degrees of Libra. So we'll talk about that, but just ahead of time, this week, trust yourself. Next week, definitely start really protecting yourself. Be careful. Just be careful in all kinds of ways. And I don't mean to instoke fear, but most of all, I care about your personal safety. The arguments aren't worth it, because like I said, if a person hasn't changed their mind about Trump at this point, they're not going to. It's kind of a lost cause. So what you need to do is just protect yourself from those types of people. Okay, so setting up you can see we have that kite energy that we had from last week. It's still continuing on. By Monday, so this chart is set for Monday, 2:09 p.m. By then, the sun will have made it into that Kazemi position, like into the heart, Mercury into the heart of the sun. Those two combine together at 8 degrees of Libra. So we're carrying the sun and Mercury together into the solar eclipse. And Mars here down at the tail of the kite. Notice how the kite, we've got the trine. So we have a grand water trine going on here from Mars, Venus to Saturn, right? Okay, so Mars wants something. In Cancer, it is protection so that we can grow. It is a foundation of protection that protects everything that you've built in the past. It's at 14 degrees, so we're in the second decan of still, learning lessons. And with the trine up to Venus, it has to do with women fighting for their reproductive rights. And then the trine over to Saturn, Saturn retrograde no less. We don't like being victimized. We just don't. We've had it, right? For time immemorial, going back and back and back and back, women have always been seen as less than. It's ridiculous. I guess unless you go back to the matriarch society, somewhere between 25,000 and 2,500 and 3,000 years ago. Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember then. I remember my last past life, but beyond that. Okay. The kite comes in with the two sextiles here to Ceres. Now, if you don't use Ceres in your transits, you wouldn't see this, and it wouldn't give you this extra piece of information that's super important, because Ceres also rules women's reproductive systems and our protectiveness to loyalty and humanity. So we've got protection, physical in Capricorn, physical protection here. At the opposite end, we have Mars, which is what we want. Mars always pushes energy to help us get what we want. It's what we go after. It's our life force. It's that movement, right? So Venus over here connecting to women, Saturn over here connecting to victimization and immigration and immigrants who've been legally in the USA for years and years and years. Oh yeah, by the way, I heard there was a lawsuit on Trump, a civil lawsuit for all the legal Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. So there you go. Okay, So, but for us, it's about protecting ourselves, protecting our family, our home, the foundations that we have created, and we want more of that, and we're willing to fight for that with Venus and Scorpio. And the opportunities to these two trines up to Ceres brings through, remember, Ceres is a dwarf planet just as powerful as Pluto, and Eris is even more powerful than Pluto. I would say it goes, well, actually Sedna, which I don't have here, is like the furthest reaches out. And then there's a couple other dwarf planets beyond the Kuiper Belt. I think it's like Maki Maki and Haumea, something like that. If I included all that in here, I mean, it would just be like 3 hours every time. Every reading would be 3 hours. It's too much. But they're there. And they're holding space for health, prosperity, and coming into our own with really healthy boundaries, which Cancer is all about. Just think of the crab with the hard shell, right? There's some major protection there. So we are going to want more and more protection. And if we don't fight for it, if we don't vote for it, if we don't honor the need for protection for our families, for our children, future generations, then we will ultimately wind up at some point with some level of grief and separation, because Ceres also rules grief and separation from protection, right? If you expect people to do it for you and you don't want to vote for it, if you don't want to pay for the protection, if you don't want to support the protection, then where are you? What's your stand? It's all about taking a stand, right? It's all about taking a stand for what you want. So the kite is there. Mars down here is the rudder, it's the tail, holding the whole thing in place. If you let go of what you really want and just let things fly, then you could victimize yourself. You could not be in harmony, and you can create crisis with Venus and Scorpio there. And then, of course, if the kite just goes nuts and flies off, grief and separation, physical grief and separation. So this is a really important time for all of us. So important. So the other backdrop that's going on, you can see that we had it last week, right? I know you guys probably, when I say this, you'll go, oh yeah, I think you said it before. Uranus sextiling Neptune. So Uranus is our planet of change. It's looked at as the great awakener, the change agent. It can be freedom, it can be inventive, it can be intuitive, but it can also be rebellious and opinionated and just totally detached from the heart, because Uranus is it's electric. It's and it can be ingenious and very innovative, but then again, and focused on the future is good with Uranus. Also, and I'm speaking to Aquarius too, because Uranus rules Aquarius. So Pluto moving into Aquarius, when that happens, when it comes back, and that happens, and we're in that for 20 years, trust me, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be pretty. Everybody's saying, all the light and all not always the dark side comes up, especially in the beginning when it comes to Pluto. Because you have to remember, Pluto can be about destruction. So people in certain positions of power are going to try to destroy humanity just to make money. They won't know that that's what they're doing. It's like destroying the planet just so that they can keep their factories open, and they don't care. It's like certain judges on SCROTUS who want all the perks and the free trips, and oh gee, there's the dude there's the mayor of New York, right? What's his name? Adam something. It's like, okay. So they want what they want for themselves, and they're not thinking of the future, and they're not thinking about the morals, and they don't care, and they don't believe in future lifetimes. It's about get what you want now and just take, take, take. In Aquarius, it will be so cut off from the heart for some of these people that we're just, I mean, we'll see it though. At least we'll see it because it's out there. In Aquarius, you can't really hide it. Capricorn, you can, can be a little more hidden. But in Aquarius, we'll see it even more. But please don't, I mean, you'll be so disappointed if you think it's all going to be perfect when Pluto hits Aquarius to stay, because it won't. It just won't. But the light's always there. The darkness has always been there. It's just that it's coming up from like the bowels of darkness, or just so. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say on that front. So Uranus in Taurus is all about our safety and our security. It's about waking up to what makes you feel secure and safe. It's about creating new inventions that bring in more safety. It's about your faithfulness to your principles. That's what Taurus is all about. And Uranus will help you wake up to what you value most. And bottom line, Taurus is always about self-preservation. So what do you need to do to preserve yourself no matter what people in positions of power are doing? So we have that trine to Pluto speaking to that. And then we have the sextile coming over from Pluto to Saturn speaking to that, which is, well, actually, no, the sextile's gone. Yeah, it is. But we've got, look at that semi-square there. Okay, so the semi-square brings in maybe some indecision. So I'm hoping that some of the people who used to support Trump and had been kind of on the fence over this next period of time will see the truth. Will wake up and see the truth, because Uranus is here. It's been there, speaking out. Or holding space for people to see it. And then with the sextile to Neptune, there's an opportunity to not be deluded, to not be victimized, and to not allow yourself to be gaslighted. I mean, there's no better gaslighter on the planet than Trump. Well, I don't know. Maybe a little Mikey Johnson, maybe. I don't know. But Saturn and Neptune both in Pisces, used in distortion. Saturn, government. Pisces can corrupt because people won't, they'll take... The dark side of Saturn and Pisces is that people in governmental positions or positions of some type of power that's in place, that's, a rigid form that's in place, will take advantage of vulnerable minds. And Neptune and Pisces, that's what it's been all about. And we won't have Neptune make it into Aries until, oh my goodness, I know I have this. I had it written down somewhere before. I have my notes over here. Let's see. Well, there's the retrogradation until October 2025, and then it moves into Aries, January 26th, 2026, all the way through. So we'll have Neptune and Aries for the years of January 2026, but January 26th, 2026, to March 22nd, 2039. Okay, that's important. So, because when Neptune hits Aries, it's going to be a whole new ball game around spirituality. What Neptune and Pisces on the good side has brought in, though, is brought in a lot of people into their spirituality. Because Neptune in the best light is source energy. It's unity consciousness for the masses. It's the arts, it's the creative arts, it's movies, films, media, any type of art, actually. Anything that inspires you can be linked to Neptune and Jupiter as well. But on the dark side, it can confuse people. It can distort things, you know. So people like Trump they're gaslighting vulnerable minds. And then we have like these cultish kind of vacuums where people are starting to really feel victimized, and they're hating on other people. So why? Like, what's the point? Well, hating on other people never helps. Justice, to see justice, that's one thing, but that hatred, that's crazy. So that's pretty much the backdrop that's going on. Now, to focus in on this opposition, so the South Node, Mercury, and the Sun opposing the North Node. So just remember, the South Node's the past, Mercury's the messenger, the Sun will shine a spotlight, and the energy is all into Libra. So with Libra, the best thing is that we can connect the dots and relate. We relate to each other, and in our stimulating conversations and relationships that we engage in, we share insights. And we even reflect back on ourselves, and we figure out which way we want to go, because the future is over here at that 6 degrees of Aries. And notice how the nodes go backwards. Notice how this North Node in Aries will eventually go back and connect with Neptune. Now, that won't happen until February 6th, 2025. But you can see where we're headed. And by then, Saturn will have gone direct, and it'll be at about 18 degrees. So it'll be about 10 degrees away from Neptune and getting closer and closer all the time. But that North Node connecting up to Pisces, well, actually, I'll have to get you a date later for when the North Node even, well, let's see, at 9 minutes it'll be. So I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that probably early, like maybe January of next year, the North Node will move into Pisces, and the South Node will then be in Virgo. That can be a challenging polarity to deal with, because if Neptune in Pisces doesn't help clean up the victimization and the cultish-like behavior, then the nodes will come in there and work it, right? So, yeah. But meanwhile, for today, besides the Sun conjunct Mercury, Mercury being the messenger, bringing news out as to justice. I mean, so Jack Smith is doing his thing already. Maybe something's happening while I'm doing this reading. I don't know. He's putting out a new filing, but there will be so many redactions that I don't know that we're going to see a lot. It's just that this is the whole new, the superseding indictment. So again, the fifth time Trump is indicted. So Mercury bringing out the news. I think we're going to be talking about it, and this is coming right into the solar eclipse, which is going to happen in Trump's second house, right? In here, when the solar eclipse happens, it'll be in his second house, because you can see how he's got 10 degrees here. There won't be any squares to his moon or sun, so it'll really just be the polarity of his 2nd to 8th house. But that North Node there on his Eris right now, that's not good. It's like the path that we're all on is bringing discord to him, I guess, because we call her the goddess of discord. Well, but he's the king of chaos and discord, so there's that. But anyway, the second house is money, his personal money, and then his resources. So that's the polarity for the next 6 months going on for him. And solar eclipses, they're eternal events. You know, they're, what am I saying? Not eternal, external versus internal. The lunar eclipse we had that was in Pisces was in his first house, and that's more of an internal event. But or no, I'm sorry, not his first house. What am I saying? Eighth house. So the lunar eclipse we had was up here in his eighth house of other people's resources, because Neptune's there as well, and the eclipse happened very close to Neptune. That is not good for him. I mean, it wasn't good for him. A lot of resources, I think, dried up. But this solar eclipse happens over here in the second house, so it's really going to affect his money. So other people's resources, his money. You know, he has to be. He's turned into the cheesiest clown, just hawking anything, hawking any type of wares. Is like literally the snake oil salesman. So, okay, let's just focus on you guys. So the moon today at 17 degrees, so we're in the second decan of Virgo. So we're still learning lessons, but we're almost done with some lessons, whatever they were. With Virgo, it relates to our health. It relates to the way we can discriminate and learn something about our life, our daily details of our lives, our health, our work, the way we serve. Those are all Virgo themes. And because it's opposing Saturn, now this chart is set for 2:09 p.m. because that's what gives us the Sun conjunct Mercury. But early in the morning, doesn't matter what time, pretty much when you get up, the moon is, well, we have an exact opposition to Saturn that comes in at 7:39 actually a.m. So, and that would be Pacific time, so it would be 10:39 a.m. Eastern time. The moon opposing Saturn can bring in something some serious feelings. You know, maybe you're more serious, maybe you're more, or maybe you hit a wall. Maybe Monday morning you wake up and you're like, oh, I can't work. Maybe you have to call in and take a day off. There's that possibility because Saturn, you know, is something concrete, and there's something solid right there. If it's not something like that, it could be the good side of it, could be getting some major details that help you, you know, via confrontation though, but help you to make a breakthrough, and it leads to a tremendous, much higher level of emotional maturity, Saturn. So this is why I am still hopeful for some people to understand that they've been victimized in the past and how they've been victimized, and learn how to protect themselves. Because remember, that kite is still hanging in there to Mars for a little bit. And then we also have Mars squaring the Sun still, but that it's a wide orb. Actually, you know what I should do? Let me go to the tight. Come on. Oh, did it light up? Yeah, I guess no, it didn't, but it's there. So there's the exact orb at 2:09. So the square is out of orb, of course, because and it is waning. It's a waning aspect. Well, no, actually, Mercury moves faster. So Mercury will come in. We will start to have a square. So this is actually an approaching square coming from Mercury that moves faster than Mars. So once Mercury crosses over the Sun, that moon square Mars, well, we'll talk about that when we get there, but you can see that the beginning of the week is kind of set up to help you get in touch, you know, put yourself in the middle of that Libra bridge that helps you figure out how to balance out something in your life and protect yourself. Like maybe by the time the moon hits Sag on Sunday night, you guys will have somebody out there will have decided, wait a minute, you know what? I'm not sure if I have enough insurance or if I even have any insurance for, like let's say you're, well, like here, I learned when I bought this house, it was new, you have your warranties, all right? So I had my heater, air conditioner, warranty said for 10 years, by Lennox, whatever. But I noticed on the fine print about 6 months ago that they could revoke a warranty without any notice at any time. So I'm like, okay, this warranty is friggin' worthless, right? So I had to put that onto my, home, you have like your home appliances and whatever under warranty. Some people do the roofs, some people do, and maybe the older the house gets, you add on things like that. So I'm thinking protection that makes life more balanced so that you can just get on with your work and but you still, it takes time. You got to do all that, right? And then there's health insurance, those types of things. And the reason I was thinking of insurance is because, Sag rules the 9th house, and by the time the moon's in Sag over the weekend, maybe some people will start over this coming weekend, next weekend, some people will start thinking about, I wonder if I'm underinsured. Or if you're overinsured and paying money in the wrong place for no good reason. There could be those considerations as well. So, okay, so let's go ahead and go to Tuesday. And Tuesday we have, the moon has made it to 26, almost 27 degrees of Virgo. So we're at that deepening and blooming stage of things that are very, very useful. And in fact, it is connecting into an exact trine at 9 a.m., okay? 9 a.m. Tuesday, October 1st. What a great way to start the month. So besides the trine coming from the moon to Uranus, which could bring some major awarenesses or aha moments, intuitive hits about, some major details that could help you with your health, with your service, with your work. And then also the moon ruling the mood of the public and things that come out in the public, and Mercury now is on the other side of the sun. So I think that Monday and Tuesday could be very profound with, news dumps. So, but you could probably say that the way it is now and the way it's going to be for years until we get things settled, we could probably just say that it's always going to be like that. But we do have the quiet days in between, but I don't think Monday and Tuesday will be, especially Tuesday here. I think major could be shocking news dumps, shocking with Uranus in Taurus. Taurus ruling money and people who can sometimes be kind of greedy, because they want what they want and they want to have it and they want to be, I don't know. It's all, just think money, and think money over here too with Venus and Scorpio, because Venus rules Taurus and Libra, and the arts and all things that are beautiful and sensual and the yummy stuff in the body and the jewelry and the bling and all that other. And Venus and Scorpio can be kind of reserved, but then maybe on the dark side of Scorpio, it can be very just destroying opportunities, because it's all about the self, like the person's, like whatever they want for themselves. We can have greediness on either side of Taurus or Scorpio, using it, if people are using that on the dark side. So we might see some scandals come out, or a scandal come out. Much like, what's his name, Eric Adams. Maybe a little bit more about that, or another one. Maybe there'll be someone else. So, wow. Then Mars trining Saturn. That's been going on. That's still there. Saturn ruling people in the government. For us, though, Saturn is always the structures in our lives. It can sometimes slow things down, but with Mars, with the trine from Mars in Cancer, no less, this is cardinal movement energy. Pisces is what it's not fixed. It's like the mutable type of energy that assimilates. So I was trying to think of the word assimilation. So I was thinking growth, cardinal movement-oriented energy that wants growth and safety, because you can't have growth if you don't have a stable, like you want to plant a seed, you can't just throw it out in the wind. It's got to be planted in the ground or in some kind of a container. It has to be protected with water and nurtured. That's Cancer energy. And then the thing can grow. Then we've got that assimilation that can happen. So whatever it is you're wanting to nurture and create safety for in your life, this is a really, really good aspect today for Tuesday, especially to have the moon trine Uranus, and some major guidance can come through to give you more stability, more safety. And then also notice the exact sextile from Chiron to Jupiter at 21 degrees of Gemini to Aries. So there we are with the sextiles always bringing in opportunities, but you do have to commit, you do have to do the work, whatever the opportunity is. But I see Jupiter as healing. At 21 degrees of Gemini, we're beyond that learning stage where we are deepening what we have learned in the past. And then with the sextile over to Chiron in Aries, there's the opportunity to know how much you matter and how much you deserve to be independent, and to don't abandon yourself. Be inside your gifts, blaze your own trail, work on your independence if you need to, be more daring, as long as you're not invading someone else's space, or just think of moving forward and honor those gifts. So this is showing up somewhere in your chart, and look at that house and it'll give you more information there. And of course, this is the lead up to the solar eclipse coming up. So, and the solar eclipses are always new moons. New moons are about planting new seeds of new intentions, right? So whatever, and to have the moon in Virgo is very, very profound, or what's that is a better word for that, I would think. Well, as long as you're not like in anxiety, which if you are, you could shift it really quick with that trine to Uranus just by opening up to a different perspective, seeing things in a different way. But with Virgo, I feel like it's divine order at the highest. Is very discerning, discriminating, but it's all about learning. Jupiter in Gemini is about learning as well. Mercury rules both of these signs. So with the moon to Jupiter, there can be emotional healing because you've learned something new about yourself, and so letting go. And then, so setting the intentions to heal whatever you need to heal would be a good thing to do. That's always a good intention, but always remember too that you can go to bed at night, go to sleep at night, especially with Neptune and Pisces. We all have that. Maybe that's the main lesson there. You can go to bed at night and ask your guides to work on anything in your body, or I always just say anything I don't even know I need, but to heal your body while you're sleeping. So yeah. Okay, then we also have this little semi-sextile over here coming from Mercury, the messenger, up to Venus. So this is kind of the beginning of an opportunity. We're in the halfway point of an opportunity here. And Mercury to Venus can bring through thinking in new ways that bring in unity, that are more loving of other people, especially women, because, the connection to Venus there. And Venus in the sextile to Ceres, that brings in that opportunity for, so Venus wanting unity, Venus wanting harmony, Venus usually loves beauty and has certain values. Now in Scorpio, it's about transformation, it's about refinement, it's about enhancing our harmony. It's sometimes through conflict, if you don't mind, like bumping up against somebody's other ideas, you might have to like set somebody straight, especially when it comes to women's rights or protecting your animals, because Ceres is all about food, animals, women, their reproductive rights, yeah, and our homes, especially in Capricorn, it's that structure, that solid structure of our homes. And then with the sesquisquare from Ceres to Uranus, okay, so this could bring in a major awareness that causes a detour because there's a better idea. So this may very well come from a friend who just gets you to think more deeply. Or maybe you've done enough emotional healing that maybe you trust yourself now so much that you're no longer really worried about betrayal in relationships, because you can stand up for yourself and you can say what you want and say what you're all about. And so your ability to connect and go deeper in relationships can come through, especially with all this Libra energy, Venus and Scorpio. Yeah. And Mars in Cancer, that protection there. As long as you can always stand up for yourself, you're going to be fine. So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else? I think that's good. Let's go ahead and go to the new moon solar eclipse. Okay, so right here, 10 degrees, 3 minutes of Libra, the moon and the sun exactly conjunct. Moon, sun conjunct. They have crossed over the south node, picked up a lot of information about old relationships from the past, and now we're ready to plant new seeds, thinking new ways about relationship. And so whatever house this comes in your chart, so just remember that the solar eclipses are more external events. So it'll be connecting with people, so things that happen around you. And it could just be like whatever's on the news too that affects you. Because in Libra, it's all about balance and fairness and equality and justice. But it will stimulate thought because Mercury's there. It will stimulate communication because of Mercury. It will help us to articulate ourselves, articulate, our words, and maybe negotiate. There's like that energy of negotiation here because of Mercury. And find the patterns. Like I said, connect the dots. And then with Mercury in Libra, like maybe make some decisions coming from a very rational place because we have analyzed it. To the point that, because remember, Mercury was back here and crossed over the south node, crossed over the sun. Now the moon's in the mix. And it's all about a brand new thought, a brand new time, a brand new way of being, a brand new experience going over that bridge to the other. And balancing out our soul substance, because Libra's all about balance. Balance, fairness, justice, partnerships, decisions. The only way you can mess this up is to get into a whole lot of people-pleasing or being in a codependent type of relationship where you're giving yourself up because you're getting something from them, but you guys aren't being honest with each other. Or maybe, maybe there's some self-preservation going on, because with Mercury here, I mean, actually, between Ceres and Mercury with those semi-squares, or not semi-squares, sesquisquares, these can bring in disruptions to things that were planned out. So maybe in relationship, there's a disruption, there's a detour, because now you know what you know, and you can't really go there. And then because Mercury is exactly square Ceres, this is pretty, there's a challenge here. There's a challenge, and there's the need for a decision, which will bring in more strength if you can work your way through it. But it's all about relationship, and it's all about justice and fairness and equality. It's like I said, if you've got that friend or that family member that's still going to vote for Trump, and they tell you and you know it, there you go. Right? At this point, still going to vote for him? Okay. All right. So that sextile's still there. Okay, so let's go over some rules, because all the other aspects I've already talked about. So everything that I've said leading up to this point applies here. Now let's look at, so what you're going to want to do is look and see where 10 degrees of Libra is in your chart, in your natal chart. And I only use 4 degrees of a conjunction. So if you have something between 6 degrees of Libra and 14 degrees of Libra in your chart, then, this conjunction will be right there on it. So that could be this could be a really important solar eclipse for you. Now, when it comes to squares, and that's the only thing I do, is either the conjunction, the opposition will flow the energy into the other house, but you got to know the house. And I think I've said this many times, but I'll repeat it again, and I probably need to do some more editing on it, and you guys can help me with that. But I have a document that has going through every house and the hot points. So if you have that, you can relay the information into, because I don't know what house, this is coming in for you, unless I'm looking at your chart. And if you're watching videos that say solar eclipse or lunar eclipse or anything, all signs, don't buy into that, because that person that's saying that does not know the exact degree of all the house cusps in your chart. So it might be right for 50% of you, but the rest of you, it won't be. But it can just be ridiculous, I mean, yeah. So just to know that. So if you want that house document that I created, just email me saying, please give me the house doc, and I'll email it right back to you as a PDF. So, and if you want it as a Word doc, let me know that, and you can always reformat it or make edits or whatever too. You can do that. I don't mind. So bottom line, anything between 6 degrees and 14 degrees of Libra, put this solar eclipse right on top of that in your chart, and so that will be like energy that you can really be productive with by setting your intentions and then doing the work, on whatever it is that you're trying to bring through, but planting those new seeds, new intentions. And this can be a very fruitful time, and it'll last all the way through to March 29th. The eclipses, they come in pairs. You get the lunar eclipse first. It lasts for 6 months. They both last for 6 months, but they're 2 weeks apart. Always lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse, somewhere close to the nodes or right on it. And then also lasts for 6 months. So this one goes to March 29th. Okay, so we have all these developmental phases, coming through, and portals, right? The eclipses open up portals of awareness, and usually with the full moon, it's something that's released and something that comes to fruition, or at least something that's right in your face and you can't ignore it anymore. And then the new moons bring in a whole new set of opportunities. So, yeah, wherever this lands in your chart is really important. And then when it comes to squares, I only do the squares to the sun or the moon, and only an orb of 1 to 3 degrees. So if you have your sun or your moon at Capricorn or Cancer, and it would have to be between 9 and 12, 13 degrees, somewhere in there, of Libra. Or, I'm sorry, it would be Cancer, Capricorn. So if you have a Cancer moon or a Capricorn moon between, it would be 7 degrees to 13 degrees. Sorry about that. I'm so good at math, aren't I? 7 degrees to 13 degrees of Cancer or Capricorn, then this would be a square. You'd be having a solar eclipse square to one of your luminaries. And if it's to your sun, so if you have your sun at 7 to 13 degrees of Cancer or Capricorn, this one could set you on a different path for seeing something clearly. If it's your moon, it would be more about some emotional work that needs to be done, or there can be the challenge that at least now you know what you're dealing with, right? And do whatever you need to do in order to heal and get what you want in life. So I think that's it. If there's any other questions, just drop them in the comments. But let's go ahead and go to Thursday. So now Thursday, the day after, this one's set for 11:32 a.m. and we have the moon having crossed over, Mercury on the other side of the sun and Mercury, and it's now opposing Chiron. So this is what leads me to believe that this really is a week about protecting yourself, because Aries and Libra energy can kind of be like them versus me. So you have to, be careful, but also let go of that. On the most intrinsic levels, we're all connected, right? We're very unique manifestations of all the love and light in the universe, but we're also all the same. It's like, what's that Rumi quote? We're not a drop in the ocean, but the whole ocean is inside of us, something like that. I know I didn't get that right, but it says that basically. So the whole ocean is inside of us. Actually, the whole universe is inside of us. In the nucleus of every cell, right? So knowing that can let go of this separation, but the separation may come up in relationship because there might be somebody who's not, who's actually triggering you and you're wounding, and maybe it's just about standing up for yourself. Could be that. And so not only the opposition, which is usually a confrontation. So Thursday morning, there could be a confrontation with someone. It could also bring through a breakthrough, because maybe the confrontation is loving, or maybe it's two people seeing different sides of the same coin and sharing notes, and that can be really wonderful. And that's especially true because of the trine here coming from the moon. Because remember, the moon is always about the mood. In Libra, it's going to be to connect, and it's going to be to try to bring in justice and fairness and equality. It's also that bridge to relationship. the moon is always connected to the psyche, our body and soul. It has to do with what we might do for self-soothing and self-regulation, so keeping balanced. And with the moon being at that 21 degrees, we're in the third decan of the sign. So we are deepening in our ability to keep ourselves balanced or get ourselves balanced more quickly. And with the trine to Jupiter, it can be that we even find a brand new way to heal based on finding that balance within. I'm a firm believer that we all have a very unique inner rhythm. And if we sit and meditate to feel our inner rhythm every day, that can bring through such a healing experience, because, everything has to be, and this is one of the things that Jupiter's about, Scorpio's about, Sag is about, life, right? It's experience. We don't learn by just thinking about it or talking about it. We learn by experiencing it. And sometimes by experiencing the opposite of whatever it is we're trying to heal, or, working our way out of the bags of trouble sometimes. But with the trine from the moon to Jupiter, this can be relationship and emotional healing, especially by speaking up and thinking in new ways, learning new things. And with the trine over to Chiron, look at that, 21 degrees, 21 here. We've got the aspect of the architect exactly today, with Jupiter down here at the handle point of the bucket. So it just depends on which end you want to be at. If you're coming from sharing your gifts, or if you're coming from sharing your wounding with a trusted friend that you're in relationship with. This could be a great day for a reading, or for therapy of any type, or any type of counseling that can help you. And then also the inconjunct coming from Saturn. So Mercury at 13 degrees, and with the quincunx inconjunct aspect over to Saturn at 14 degrees. Again, some serious thinking that can help heal. Now, Pisces in the highest sense is very compassionate and sensitive and intuitive, super psychic, and open. And then with the quincunx, there's an adjustment coming from some messages either from a friend or a trusted therapist, or somebody that you trust. And there's a message there that helps you make an adjustment, maybe to get you out of a limitation where you were possibly victimized in the past, and maybe still carrying it, and they help you open up there. At the very least, that could be something that you work with in your meditation. And then Venus with the sesquisquare there coming towards, Neptune's there holding space at that late degree of Pisces. So Neptune, being source energy, can help us dissolve and transcend anything that we've been numbing out from. And Venus in Scorpio will give you the disruption to help you realize, oh yeah, I've just been numbing out. I didn't feel safe with that person. No wonder I would disassociate around them. No wonder when they came around, I just wanted to eat, or maybe I wanted a drink, or maybe I wanted something else, or you know what I mean? Like Venus and Scorpio relationship type of thing like that can bring those things out. So yeah, and then we still have that semi-square coming from Pluto to Saturn, or actually it's Saturn to Pluto, because Pluto's just sitting there. This to me really feels like major friction, like which way do I go for dark, disruptive, corrupt people in positions of in some type of a governmental position or other powerful position of some type. I'm thinking what came to mind was Rachel Maddow's that great show, to, what was it, From Russia with Lev? Oh my goodness. It took like 2 or 3 recordings for me to finally get the whole recording. I don't know why my DVR kept cutting it off after an hour, but the whole thing is actually 2 hours long. And I imagine it'll be played, over and over. I really encourage you to watch, especially the end. It has such a surprise ending that's so... But what I loved about it was seeing somebody go from the throes of being victimized and gullible. So this is Lev Parnas telling his story, and his wife, Svetlana. Oh my goodness. How she hung in there with him, because she kind of saw it from the get-go, but he tells his whole process. He tells his whole story. And it's funny at sometimes, but then the ending is amazing. But what I loved about it was seeing the transformation, which is a very Scorpio Plutonic process of being victimized, and because you're gullible, like he was going for the money and the power and the bling and the status and the, oh my God, it's Trump, kind of thing. And Rudy Giuliani was the guy that sucked him into it. So I was reminded about Rudy here, because Pluto is right now sitting on his south node. His south node is at, I think, 28 degrees of Capricorn. So, yeah, this whole, even though there's no charges against him or Bill Barr, the documentary really, because of all the footage of actual video and audio coming from Lev, because Lev saved everything, it's all documented. So it is a documentary that is not just, like clickbait or something for thought. It's actually proof. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's that. Is that for the moon? Got the opposition. Yeah, okay. I talked about these. We still have this aspect here, these two sesquisquares coming from the Sun to Ceres to Uranus. Yeah. Disruption, grief, and separation for those who haven't been fair and haven't been just. Could be pretty shocking when that comes through. The energy's there for something to come through. I don't know who it's going to hit, but okay. Friday, we have the moon entering Scorpio, 4:23 a.m. Pacific time, and right off the bat, it squares Pluto. So again, the moon ruling the public, Mercury rules the news, but the moon sharing the public mood, that can bring through something of... could be an opportunity to share somebody who's been. It can be a scandal. Bottom line is what I'm trying to say. There can be a scandal that comes through, a public scandal, and with Venus there trining Saturn, it could be. It's possible it's a relationship scandal, financial scandal, both of these. You can see the moon is working its way to Venus. I'll scroll through some hours and get us there, and we'll get some other hits. But for first thing in the morning, I think something's going to come out on the news, actually. And the other aspects are still the same. The way we can work this for us to our best advantage would be to work on things that we want to bring more refinement into, to go deeper into, to work on our psychic gifts, to trust ourselves, to allow things to be a little bit intense, to go deep, just to go deep. Okay. Have some experiences of meditation where you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into who you truly are. So let's see. Yeah, everything else is still the same there. Let's go ahead and go to Saturn. Oh, no, wait, no. Hold on. Stay back here. This is not what I wanted to do. No. There we go. That's Friday. Let's go hours. Okay. So, let's see, how long does it take to get? Maybe that does come through. Yeah, that is. I have it set here for Saturday. But let's see if there's anything in between. That little semi-sextile is not a big deal. Yeah, I don't think it's going to have, there's 3:23 p.m. The moon, probably about 5 degrees, 20, yeah. That sesquisquare to Jupiter, that could bring in some kind of, so let's see, with from the moon, I feel like it's the news that brings something, like we learn something about somebody who has taken advantage of. I feel like there's like we're learning about somebody who was greedy. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and go to Saturday. Saturday, the moon hits up Venus at 15 degrees. They're both in the midway through the decan of the sign, or midway through the sign into the second decan. So 11:28 a.m. Pacific time, this happens. The moon connected to Venus. So again, the moon being our mood, being our inner rhythms, hunches, the feelings we get in our bones, intuition in Scorpio, which is already a very psychic sign, can really help us to get some deep information on whatever it is that we're trying to understand. Now, with it hitting up Venus, this could relate to our finances, could have some intuitive guidance about new ways to make money, or keep the money that we have, because you can always be more abundant by spending less, right? If the goal is to keep your cash, you don't want to spend it, there you go. The moon conjunct Venus, it can definitely bring through learning a lesson there, because like I said, it's in the second decan of the sign. New ways to not only keep your cash, but to make refinements in your life. Scorpio is so good for making refinements. Now, when it comes to a relationship, it can be guidance as to any energy vampires you might have in your life, if you do. Somebody that's been somebody that when you talk to them or you see them or they, call you or whatever, the connection, once the connection's made, or maybe even you start thinking about them, you lose energy. You feel your power go. And it could be doing anything where you feel your power, your energy level drop. This can be deep guidance, that deep intuitive hunch as to like, if I want more harmony in my life, because remember, Venus will always help you get to what you value most. And in Scorpio, we're talking about deep psychic values, and psychic values help you understand where you lose energy and where you don't, or where you hold energy, or where you can give energy, which all can rejuvenate, because Scorpio is all about rejuvenation and, redefining those opportunities. If you understand where your power goes in the wrong direction, that's a really good thing to get, right? That's a really, really good thing to get. Because if you're wasting your life force and you're wasting your energy, you're literally on the dark side of Scorpio, destroying opportunities. So whatever it is, don't fall for it. If you feel yourself in those situations, you'll know it. You'll know how it feels. You'll just be like, I can't do it anymore, right? So having the courage to stand up for yourself, Mars in Cancer can help you do that. The courage to protect yourself. With the square to Mercury, you would have to speak it out or say it to yourself and then just decide, I'm not going there anymore. The square will bring through that confrontation, but working it will bring through the strength that's needed in that relationship, or the strength within yourself to think in more balanced ways. Like maybe you lose power when you think certain thoughts. Maybe you get a pain in your head and then you have to go, wait, what was I just thinking? Right? Especially when it's like, yeah. Or maybe your ear starts ringing. And like for me, if I have a little, just any kind of little in my ear, I know that I need to, sit up straighter, and my neck is not aligned with my back the way it should be. So different things like that. Let your body teach you. That would be the power of Uranus in Taurus. Taurus is all about the body. Uranus will help you wake up to the power in your body that's trying to help you have more power. And Pluto and Capricorn can help you with that too. So yeah, okay, so let's go to Sunday. Well, wait, hold on. Is there any more with, well, not until the moon gets to Sag up here we'll have this opposition. Wait, let's do this. Let's do this instead. The moon here, trine. Yeah, we've got the grand water trine. Oh, I'm so glad I did this. Okay, so the moon and Venus, it's not just about the moon and Venus that I was talking about, but also with that trine to Mars. So this really doubly reinforces everything I was saying. Saturn and Pisces can help you create those strong, healthy boundaries, and then protective boundaries because of Mars and Cancer, and that refines your opportunity to be more abundant with Venus and Scorpio, and the moon hitting all that up helps you become more aware in your body. Okay, now I feel good about that. Now let's go ahead and go to Sunday. So Sunday, now we have the moon opposing Chiron. Oh, I'm sorry, Uranus. What am I saying? Right here, 26 degrees. This happens at 10:09 a.m. Pacific, so that'd be 1:09 Eastern. And so we have a couple things here. Besides the opposition, we also have a aspect of the architect going on to Pluto. So the moon in the third decan of the sign brings through something. It can be intense, but it can be very deep and bloom. It's like when a flower is in full bloom, okay? And with the opposition to Uranus, it can be, especially coming from Taurus and Scorpio mixed together, that polarity. It can be something really beautiful that just kind of blows your mind. So look for the beauty in life on Sunday. Look for the beauty in life every day, every moment that you can remember. Try to not look at as much of the things that are not so pretty, and notice the beauty. And like maybe you see beautiful flowers and there's a couple of weeds. It's like, don't focus on the weeds, focus on the flowers, unless they're your weeds, and then pull them out. If they're somebody else's, unless you want to do their yard work for them. But they probably wonder, what the heck is she doing? Anyway, but with the moon there, with that opposition, it can be a confrontation as to your choice. Do you want to be intense and or on the light side of Scorpio, do you want to refine something and transform something? Do you want the conflict? So be careful, because the Uranus side over here can be kind of shocking. For personal work, this can be major psychic breakthroughs in the body. That experience that I was telling you about, to have all those experiences of healing in your body, in your psyche as well. Scorpio, psyche. Taurus, body. Uranus, freedom. Uranus, innovation. Uranus, independence. making progress, right? And this could be financially as well, because Taurus and Scorpio are definitely related to finances. You know, Venus rules Taurus, so you can kind of put Venus and Uranus together over here. And then Pluto rules Scorpio, so you can put Pluto and the moon together over here. And that can make for some very powerful ideas, downloads, aha moments to help you become more abundant. And then with the trine over to Pluto, there's the power there that's solid because it's in Capricorn. On another level, this is about that opportunity to be in your integrity. And then with the trine to Uranus, with that aspect of the architect there, again, I mean, we're talking independence. This is a good time to think of all the ways of being very, very independent, especially if you're a woman. It's all about being independent if you're a woman. That your whole life is geared, and I don't know how many lifetimes it'll take you to get all the independence that you feel that is, well, to be 100% independent is a good thing. But we're all interdependent on each other because we're all in this together. But we all have our own, you know, healthy boundaries that need to be had. We all need honesty in relationships. Otherwise, you know, we can't really go forward. We all need trust. So, yeah. Okay, anything else? With the moon there, there's the little semi-square. Yeah, oh, there's two semi-squares, actually. So, one comes over to the sun, and the other one, of course, you can see is connected to Ceres. So yeah, it's the same thing. So semi-squares will always bring through some kind of friction, and maybe there's a need to make a decision, but you don't know what it is yet. But I think you'll know soon when the moon moves on. You'll be able to. So now it's about being aware of the decisions that need to be made. You can see there's also a quincunx here going down to Eris. So again, she's more powerful than Pluto. She takes 556 to 558 years to get around the zodiac. And she's been in the sign of Aries for all of our lives. She won't move into Taurus until 2048. So yeah, she came into Aries in 1926. So anyway, Aries, all about independence. So everything I was saying before, there's some deeper awareness about where you need to make adjustments so that you have more independence in your life. So, yeah. Well, we will vote accordingly on that, won't we? Venus trine Mars is still going on there. So, yeah, this is all, I mean, I can see this so much about women's rights. And then Mars being in this T-square. Notice how Mars at 17, Chiron at 21, the Sun and Mercury at 13 and 18. Yeah, so we've got a tight orb over here, an approaching orb coming over here. Okay, so this has to do with thinking. It just keeps coming back to balance and fairness and justice and equality, and not that confrontation of not wanting anything to do with being minimized, to not being independent. This is all about asserting our individuality, and we're talking about it, and we're thinking of it. We're just talking about it. And then the challenge comes from we need protection. It's all about protection. Mars and Cancer. So if we don't protect ourselves, I guess, probably maybe we're still going to be talking about Trump saying that he's a protector of women. Sure. Crazy. Okay, let's go forward a little bit and see what we get here. I wanted to see when well, actually, hold on. I can just look at my little book here. It'll tell me the moon moves into Sag at 4:34 p.m. So almost there. Yeah, you can see 29 degrees. But it actually happens at 4:34 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So Sunday night with the moon and Sag, we're going to be more outspoken. Be careful about getting into an argument, especially because of the opposition to that we were undergoing. See, even before that opposition to Uranus, that can be very challenging, very combative, and yeah. But if you're in a loving relationship, this can be a great time for airing out any grievances and saying, I love you, but I don't feel the same way you do about that. Or when this happens, I feel this way. You always want to use I am statements rather than blame them, because if you're getting triggered, it usually comes from your past, which would be your parents, right? So, or it could be siblings. It could be things like that. Any family dynamic from the past will trigger us in relationship with others. So what we want to do is just know that and not project onto them, but let them know how you feel and why you feel that way, or why you feel how you do, and then go from there and just open up conversation. Most people won't know that why you feel the way you do, or how it feels to be you. It could be that too, especially when you're dealing with men and women. Like guys might not know how hard it is being a woman, being vulnerable, right? And having to protect your children, being vulnerable and protecting your vulnerable children and your vulnerable elderly parents. All of those factors are up for deep consideration, right? So the moon ruling the past and ancestry and just the mood. Well, the mood is going to want to take us to a better place. And with Uranus there can be that opening of more safety, more security, and knowing that we all kind of want the same things. I mean, those of us in loving relationships. And the moon and Sag can be so good for, like I said, just getting you on your path, searching your soul, expanding the direction that you want to go in, and speaking up, like I was saying before. It can be good for understanding what you really believe in. It can be good for finding more freedom. So this is Sunday night, and then I'll talk about it next week because it'll be there, of course. And we'll have next weekend or the following, Monday, Tuesday with the moon and Sag as well. So this would be ending the weekend and then 2 days or maybe 2.5 days of feeling more free. Might be travel times are good, maybe, because Sag is all about traveling. Most of all, though, it's speaking up as to your beliefs and what you have faith in. And if you don't know what you believe or what you have faith in, then we're exploring those things. We're exploring the things in life that bring meaning into our lives. But on the dark side, this can be patriotic religious dogma. And with Uranus over here, it can be shocking to see what people believe. There's that possibility. But then next week, as it gets into earlier in the week, then we'll have the opposition to Jupiter as well. So Jupiter being the ruler of Sag and opening up that conversation between truth versus lies. Yeah. So these are the times. These are definitely the times. So I think I'll close up and get this uploaded. And as always, big hugs. take good care, take care of each other, and that's it. Okay, bye.